Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Boba7772 here to bring you a book review of Star Wars: A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller. So without further ado, let's get started. So for this video it's going to be kind of different because I don't have it scripted necessarily, but I did take notes on it about characters and plot points, and I didn't do this exactly for the video, but I'm going to use it to help me with the video. So first, I got this book a while ago. This is a paperback that was available at San Diego Comic-Con. It's not the official version because there are slight changes in it. They said that there might be slight changes, but I looked, there was like something I noticed, the chapter was in one was shorter than the other. But as you can see, it's signed right there. I got this on eBay for probably really expensive. It's my first autographed item though, so I'm really excited, and he's a really spectacular author, so props to you, John Jackson Miller, JJ Miller. So yeah, so the book starts out with a foreword by Dave Filoni, just kind of talking about how the expanding universe is getting rebooted, blah blah blah. I still think that the way they did it could have gone better, but I digress. The book itself, I'm just gonna say right now, it was incredible. I did end up getting a hardback cover because I'm going for kind of the bookshelf look. I do plan to actually build bookshelves for them, but right now I only have like one of them, so I'm gonna try to get the hardback of each of the books. And I wanted to support the author too, because just buying this one for however much on eBay was not exactly supporting the author, because somebody got that free at Comic-Con and then sold it to me, so they made money, and JJ Miller made no money off of that. So I figured that this book was so incredible, I probably needed to support, because I want to get more of this stuff, and I want him to write more Star Wars books, because he's just awesome. Another thing is, I do like the hardcovers better. So yeah, I've been rambling for about 2 minutes. Let's get into the book itself. Now this is going to have spoilers in it, so if you haven't read the book, turn away now. I mean, I'm gonna go, you know, from the beginning to the end with spoilers for the most part. So if you're only like halfway through, I guess, you're like, oh, that's like the last part I've got into, blah blah blah, I should leave. Anyway, so this book has a couple of, I want to say, really colorful characters in it. I really love the characters that they have for this book. Obviously you have Kanan Jarrus and Hera Syndulla, who are two of the protagonists for Star Wars Rebels. So most people know them. They're like, oh yeah, everybody knows those two. So pretty much Kanan, and here's some spoilers stuff for Kanan. Kanan was a Jedi Knight, which most people should probably know by now, only he was under the name Caleb Dume. I believe that was it. And his Jedi Master was Depa Billaba. Completely forgot her name, but she was on the council in episode 1, and I think it said she was in episode 2, but I can't remember her in it to save my life. But the book starts out with the prologue of Obi-Wan giving a lecture, and he's talking about that thing that he activates, that signal, calling all, like, the signal that he warns all the Jedi to stay away from the Jedi Temple. So he's saying, you know, with this thing, with this signal, we can call Jedi back if the war's over or just some other point. And then Caleb raises his hand and he's like, yo, Kenobi, only he doesn't talk like that. He's like, what about if we want to send everyone away? You know, just wondering. He doesn't know why they would do that. Everyone's like, and everyone kind of laughs, and he's like, oh, that's a good point. So, then you skip forward, you learn that Depa Billaba was, and she's a human female, by the way, my notes here, I believe she's human. The new canon may have her or something else, I don't even know, but Depa sacrificed herself to save young Caleb, so Caleb went on to change his name to be Kanan Jarrus, and pretty much planet hopped until the book here, or until the main part of the book. Hera Syndulla, we don't really know much about her, what motivates her. We know that there's something that motivates her, and we're obviously going to find out. Not in this book, because it didn't really say. I have a feeling we're going to find out in Lords of the Sith book, because that's got spoiler alert for the Lord of the Sith excerpt in that, but that has Cham Syndulla, which is a Clone Wars character. So I'm assuming that him and Hera are related somehow, and he gets killed along with a bunch of freedom fighters. So she's like, I'm gonna, that's just my assumption, and then she's gonna take on their fight and do it all for him. So we don't really know what motivates her, but she's out looking for people to join her cause. And while looking, she finds a couple of really interesting people. There is a guy named Skelly who becomes known as the Bomber through the book, and he's absolutely my favorite character of this book, hands down. He's the most amazing Star Wars character from, the new EU. Which, I mean, I guess isn't really saying much, because all the new EU has right now is this book, and I guess the mobile phone game and a comic series. And Darth Maul is a bit cooler than Skelly, but anyway, back on topic. I get out on detail too much. Skelly is just amazing. He's really hilarious, and when I go over my plot points, I'll kind of explain that. But he caught Hera's eye. Another person, and he was a human male, I believe. Yeah, human male. And then another character who caught what is it? I can't even think right now. I lost my train of thought. Another character who caught Hera's eye, his name is Zaluna. Now, Zaluna is a Solistan, which, Nim Nub, the dude who... I'm not sure if it's the dude. The guy who was in the Millennium Falcon and Return of the Jedi with Lando Calrissian. That's a Solistan. So, she is a Solistan, and I honestly don't know what a female Solistan looks like, though I should, because I'm well versed in the Star Wars lore, even the Legends Expanded Universe. Though, obviously, I'm not the biggest fan, because I don't know what a female Solistan looks like. So, I just kind of pictured her as Nim Nub the entire time, which is probably racist to me. And she is fairly oldish. She was around in the days of the Clone Wars, and she was a communications officer. Another character in the last of the, we kind of went from protagonists there, and now we're going to kind of get to, like, friends of protagonists, and we aren't really at antagonists, but these aren't, like, really protagonist characters, is Okadiah Garson. Now, Okadiah Garson is I believe he's a human male. They weren't too clear about it, otherwise I was just a moron, and at first I thought that he was a basilisk, but apparently he's human. That's what I'm taking from this. And he was one of Kanan's, like, dearest friends. And if you read the thing on the back, spoiler alerts, by the way, spoiler alert. If you read the thing on the back, it's like the Empire kills one of Kanan's friends and forces him to make a choice automatically. So pretty much just happens like 2/3 of the way through the book. And spoiler alert once again, they kill off Okadiah, and yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But he was a kind of like a chef slash barkeeper, kind of like Dexter was, I guess. He had a diner thing slash pub that Kanan worked at. So those were the protagonists. Now the antagonists, more or less, depending on how you look at it, unless you're an Imperial guy, there are two of them, and I'll start with the most interesting one first, actually. The most interesting one, in my opinion. So that would be Count Vidian. Now, Count Vidian, I would love to know what he looks like. I want somebody to draw up, like, a really accurate drawing of him, because I don't know how to imagine him. I kind of imagine Count Vidian a cross between Darth Malgus and a Dalek, but I don't even know why I think that. He's pretty much this male cyborg who was around during the day of the Clone Wars, and we'll get into that when I go over the story notes that I took. But he was a really interesting character too, and I loved Count Vidian. He was awesome. A really good Imperial character. Now, an Imperial character who, she wasn't bad, but I just found her more or less boring. I know a lot of people did like her. I don't have anything against her, I guarantee you that. She wasn't as interesting to me as some of the other characters. And that would be Rae Sloane. Now, Rae Sloane is an Imperial officer, and we'll go over some of the important plot points, but I think that she makes out the best in this book. She's pretty smart, and she did some pretty cool stuff in this book. So yeah, those are pretty much all of the characters. I'll read my story notes and then go over the current status of the character, if they're alive, if they're dead, if anything really changed for them at the end of the book. So I kind of had this popped up on my notebook here, so I'm going to have to lower it a bit. And then, yeah. So, the first note I have is, Deppa is killed during Order 66, so Caleb Dune, now canon, can escape. Now canon thinks back to his master Deppa Billaba, and I'm sure that this will come up in the show at some point. But I know that they said they weren't going to do flashbacks, but this is part of canon's past. And with the Inquisitor trying to learn about the Jedi, Deppa is most likely going to come up at some point. So she pretty much is killed in Order 66 trying to save canon, and she does. Now, Hera Syndulla is trying to recruit people to join her cause, which I kind of went over already. She has an eye on Skelly, and then she tries to get some information from this guy who the name completely escapes me, but he got captured, and Zaluna, the Sullustan, had to deliver it to her. So Skelly ends up, what did I say here? Wow, I really didn't write these to where if somebody was just reading them without reading the book, it would make any sense. So Skelly tries to bomb the mine, and luckily Kanan has to use the Force, but he gets everybody out alive, and then he's like, I'm leaving the planet. And Skelly he fails because he's trying to get a point across, but he doesn't get the point across. He has good intentions, it's just the way that he goes about it is not too good, I guess, depending on how you look at it. My point of view on it is he has good intentions, and he's a good guy, but the way he went about it is not that great. So he tried to bomb a thing on the moon to try to prove a point that the moon could collapse and throw everything out of orbit and blah blah blah. And this point doesn't get across, so he later tries to go talk to Count Vidian, which he doesn't know is a big no-no, because Count Vidian's a major jerk. Count Vidian actually ends up killing somebody on this space station while Skelly bombs it. Kanan is at work. Hera's there, kind of scouting for people, looking for, I think, Vidian, and then this is where she gets her interest in Skelly. So, wow, I really wrote these, like, going late into the book. So, pretty much after that, Zaluna, there's this guy who I forgot the name of, but he was going to deliver this thing of information to Hera, and it does not work because he gets arrested. So he begs Zaluna to deliver it, and Zaluna's like, fine, I'll deliver it, because his name's Hetto, H-E-T-T-O. He's awesome. I didn't even look. I'm good like that. So she does that for Hetto and brings it to Hera. Now Hera, after seeing the bombing and everything, goes down to the planet to look for Skelly. Now as she goes down to the planet, because they're on the moon is where it was bombed and they work and everything, Kanan goes back to the planet too. Now Skelly's on his ship, and Kanan wants nothing to do with Skelly. He's mad at Skelly, so he ties him up, and he's like, I'm going to turn you over to the Empire. Well, he turns him over to the Empire. Hera plots to rescue him with a gang of thugs that hates Kanan. Kanan and Hera get into a fight with that gang of thugs after Hera rescues Skelly. So Skelly gets rescued. They get into a fight with him. I think they all either die or get knocked out or something. Hera and Kanan kind of see each other have skill. Kanan starts flirting with Hera, and Hera's like, you gotta go, you're cool, but you don't have the heart. So he goes back to Okadiah and all that, and then later Zaluna comes into the cantina that Kanan works at, and Okadiah, you know, he's kind of an older guy, kind of like a father figure to Kanan, but he's also a buddy with him, so she comes in, and the Zaluna comes in, and Okadiah teases Kanan about actually liking her, even though it wasn't her, it was Hera. And then Hera walks in and sees that Kanan is there, and she sees that she's going to meet Zaluna, so all of them kind of see each other. And then they all start talking. Cannon's just kind of there serving drinks, and they like him there. For some reason, they want him there. Now, where my notes come back into place is Zaluna then sees Skelly in the bar and runs out scared. So Zaluna is scared of Skelly and gives Hera the information that Hedda was supposed to give her. Dang it. Sorry about that, loud truck. Zaluna is scared of Skelly and gives Hera the information Hedda was supposed to give her before he got arrested. However, Zaluna sees Skelly, is terrified because she's the, she like sneaks in, she watches everybody on camera, and she saw that Skelly was the one who bombed everything, so it was her fault that Skelly got caught in everything, and they knew it was Skelly. So, she ended up seeing Skelly and freaked out and left and brought the information with her, and Hera's like, dang it. So now just Skelly, Hera, and Cannon are in the cantina. A bunch of stormtroopers come in, and then they pretty much play it off. They hide Skelly and play it off like they work there, and everything's cool. So Cannon has been planet hopping, avoiding relationships, and plans to leave Gorse soon, which he does. But right now he wants to kind of go with Hera because he's kind of crushing on her a bit. So Hera and Cannon decide to visit the Moonglow. Moonglow is this bar, I guess. I don't know if it's the one that Cannon, or I don't think it's the one that Okadiah works at. This part really confused me, but there's this other lady who Cannon was friends with, and she was kind of in charge of the place, and her husband was a Basilisk and a security officer. Now this was about the time that Count Vidian and Sloane come down to kind of test everything out, and at this point Vidian interrupts and kills the lady, and we figure out that he is crazy, you know, being part robot and whatnot. And Sloane kind of is like, wow, okay, but she's still going with Vidian through all this, even though he keeps messing up, because Vidian is putting her in a high position, which she loves. Now, Vidian kills this lady, and the Basilisk bodyguard, her husband, takes it like he really gets hurt. So what happens then is Hera stops him from hurting himself, convinces him that that she wasn't the one who did it and that it was Vidian. So she goes back outside to where Cannon is. Cannon is talking to Sloane right now, and he's trying to sneak into Moonglow, but since Hera has his pass, he can't really do it. Sloane gets him, is about to arrest him. Vidian calls off everyone to come back. Cannon is being like flirtatious like he does with most females, and is also just kind of being funny. Humorous guy is, and Hera comes in and saves him. So Sloane and Vidian and all the Imperial people are like, we gotta go. And the reason for this is Skelly actually went in the place and talked to Vidian and gave him the idea to blow up the moon, because he thought that Vidian would be like, get the information and be like, oh, we can't blow up the moon, that'd be bad. But Vidian got the information and is like, we need to blow up the moon because there's this guy on Coruscant who's making me look bad, and if I blow up the moon, I can get everything I want, then pin the blame on him and everything. So he keeps promoting Sloane, and then Skelly gets out of the place alive, barely, and Vidian and Sloane start leaving, and Skelly actually sets up another bomb and tries to bomb Vidian, killing him, but it doesn't work. So they take Okadiah's car, they apprehend it, and take it away, in which point Cannon's like, we gotta go get it for Okadiah back. Now, Skelly, let's see, I'm gonna go back to my notes over here. Cannon and Hera go to get the bus back, but Hera's kind of doing it to get some more information on Vidian as well. So they go and try to get the bus back. However, Skelly's there and tries to kill Vidian again, and it doesn't work, and Vidian gets mad, and then the Basilisk husband, who's grieving, comes, and there's this huge fight between the four of them, the Basilisk bodyguard husband guy who lost his wife to Vidian, Skelly, who is now in the car that Kanan came to get back, Kanan and Hera. So they end up killing the Basilisk, and then Skelly drives the thing, and he comes back for Hera and Kanan, and they all escape. And video car thing the entire time. So now the protagonists are all together, and they're like, okay, we gotta go stop them from doing this. Well, Vidian blows pretty much blows up the moon, or the majority of it. Not entirely, but for the most part, and he kills Okadiah by doing it. The four protagonists go up onto the moon. They get Okadiah. Okadiah dies in Kanan's arms. They bury him on the moon, and then Kanan's like, you know what? I want to join your fight against the Empire. So they all decide to join the fight. Now this is where it gets funny and awesome, and the best part of the story comes in. So Vidian lies to the Empire to meet his quota and puts all the fault on Sloane, and also gets Dante blamed. Dante's the dude on Coruscant I mentioned a minute ago. So he plans to do all of this, so he lies to the Empire and is putting Sloane in a position to where she'll get in trouble, and he will put Dante there so he'll get in trouble, but Vidian will still meet his quota and everything. Well, Hera and Kanan... the heck? My camera is acting up. So, Hera and Kanan go in and pretty much pick a fight with Vidian, and they're losing. And then Vidian calls an interrogator droid in, which Zaluna reprogrammed, and comes in and knocks Vidian out and catches him by surprise. So Vidian is now knocked out, and since he's part cyborg, he has like recorded memory of everything he sees. So the four protagonists are watching this. Skelly got hurt from Vidian earlier, like I mentioned, and he's in really bad shape now. So they pretty much go and use this information, call Sloane up, get her captured as well. So now they have Sloane and Vidian captured. Kanan tries to talk to Sloane, tries to convince her that Vidian's using her, but she doesn't buy it. So they all leave, and they go on the hope that Kanan had convinced Sloane that Vidian's using her, but she didn't believe it. So they're all going to blow up the moon now, and Kanan's like, you know what, fine. So Kanan starts shooting the TIE fighters down. They get to the moon as well, but after they leave the ship that Vidian and everyone was on, Vidian's like, you know what, we're gonna go blow up the moon, and Sloane's like, I agree with you. So they go and do that. Kanan, Hera, Skelly, and Zaluna capture Vidian and Sloane, trying to convince them of the truth. It doesn't work. They fail and have to end up having to reboard the ship. Now, they get into a major, once they reboard the ship, Skelly's like really getting hurt. He has to leave his explosives on the ship because Kanan doesn't trust him. So Skelly, they're all climbing this ladder. Skelly doesn't make it. He falls. They all assume he's dead. So they split up. Hera goes one way, and Kanan and Zaluna go another way to Vidian's room to try to stop them from blowing up the moon. However, this doesn't work too well because of the fact that that Hera was a bit behind Kanan and Zaluna, and Kanan was outside guarding while Zaluna was the only one in. So Vidian beat up Zaluna really bad. Now, Kanan came in and started fighting Vidian, and then Hera came in later, and a fight ensued. There was something earlier that showed that you can't shoot Vidian, otherwise it'll pass right through and hit somebody else. But Zaluna tried to shoot Vidian. She didn't know, and she ended up going blind because of it. So she is now blind. Then Sloane realizes that she was betrayed by Vidian, so she gets really mad and orders everyone to kill Vidian. Well, Vidian's hurt now. Pretty much everyone's hurt. Something is about to fall on Hera and kill her. But Kanan uses the Force to save her. Hera sees and realizes that he has the Force. And Hera's like, well, he's going to make a good ally. I guess I won't ask too many questions, though I am pretty curious about it. But he'll open up over time, or he won't. He'll still be a good ally. Kanan takes Zaluna, and they all get off the ship. And Zaluna's like, you know what, maybe Skelly's still alive. Well, while they're doing that, Vidian goes to the ship that Kanan, Hera, Zaluna, and Skelly came in on. So Okadiah's cargo freighter thing. And Skelly's waiting for him. And So Skelly's alive, and we're like, yay, and then Skelly's like, you know what, I'm going to have one last bombing. He blows up the ship, killing himself and Vidian, which sucks, because those were the two best characters in the book, I kid you not. They were amazing characters. I liked Vidian more at the beginning than I liked him at the end, but I kind of get what he did. They really made him villainous, and Vidian was just awesome. So anyway, Skelly ends up killing both of them. Skelly blows him and Vidian up, saving Gorse. So Skelly actually saves Gorse, which is something that Skelly really wanted to do. So Skelly accomplished his goal, and that actually might have made me shed a tear a little bit, because my favorite character died, but he accomplished what he set out to do. And I absolutely loved that. Skelly was the absolute best character in this book. Kanan, Zaluna, and Hera escape, and Hera learns Kanan has the Force. Sloane, so my final notes are Sloane, Zaluna, Kanan, and Hera all survive. Okadiah, Depabilaba, Count Vidian, and Skelly all end up dying. Sloane actually gets promoted. She starts working, she talks to Dante, she goes to Coruscant and talks to him. She gets promoted and everything goes in her favor since they figured out that Vidian was wrong here. Zaluna actually just retires at a house with the garden on a mysterious planet that we don't know. Will we ever figure out what planet this is? I'm hoping it's not Alderaan. That would really suck for her, because I want to see some more Zaluna, even though she's blind. But then Hera and Kanan leave, and they get to the Ghost, which has actually been Hera's ship throughout the entire book, which she was in it at the beginning, but we never knew it was the Ghost until now. So that's pretty much my notes on the books, and I probably did go into detail because I go into a bunch of pointless details sometimes. So, what did I think of this book? I thought that it was absolutely wonderful. They did a spectacular job. Dare I say, this is one of my favorite Star Wars books of all time. Now, I'm really in love with the Revan book, and I'm really in love with a couple other books like the Darth Bane trilogy, and Tatooine Ghost was one of my all-time favorites. But John Jackson Miller, I love the style of this book, which is a bunch of chapters, and they're all pretty short, and they are sweet. He doesn't go into a bunch of pointless detail describing how a wall looks for no reason. He gets to the point, he makes it interesting, and he just did an absolutely wonderful job on this. I loved it. This was absolutely worth the money, absolutely worth the read. It is actually, let me see how many pages pages long it is real quick. Not counting the Tarkin excerpt, because there's an excerpt for the Tarkin book, it is 367 pages. So once again, 367 pages. With the Tarkin excerpt, it would be 383 pages. Now, I haven't read the Tarkin excerpt yet, but from this book I've read the Lords of the Sith excerpt, and that was a really good one. It's available, the Tarkin, Lord of the Sith, and the Heir to the Jedi, which is the Luke book, are all available in this book and the Kindle editions. But I ended up, if you're lucky, you can find this book hopefully for like around 20 bucks instead of its normal $27 price. Since I got it day one, I found it for that much. I'm going to go ahead and give this book a 5 out of 5. It is one of the best Star Wars books I have read. I really did not find anything wrong with it. I started reading in this book, then switched over to this one, because if there were any mistakes in that one, I wanted to catch them for this one. So the beginning part might be a bit off from what I remember, but I think that pretty much the everything has the same gist to it. This was, once again, a wonderful book. I would highly recommend anyone to read it, and it is a great start to the new Star Wars Expanded Universe. J.J. Miller, probably not watching this, but I think I'm Facebook friends with you, and I see you on the Force.net forums. Just, you know, by the off chance that he is reading this, I want to let him know that he is one of my favorite authors now, and just absolutely wonderful. And of the Star Wars books I have, I'm going to start reading the ones by John Jackson Miller first, because these books are probably the most readable ones in my collection with the, or this one is probably the most readable in my collection with the short and sweet chapters. So yeah, I think I've rambled for a good 30 minutes now, probably more than 30 minutes. I'm gonna stop. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and actually if you listen to me ramble about the plot of this book and then just wait around for my opinion at the end. So thank you for watching, and until next time, keep collecting. Bye.